part of the podcast is if I ever walk away, Tasha gets super worried because like conversation stops.
I just don't have that. Dave is really good at like nonstop talking, including interrupting people.
That's
He
why
just
we're
like
best friends.
he's one of those motor mouth people that like never lets there be 1 second of air in any conversation. And I'm just not that way. I like to listen. I like to lean back.
But it's live
I'm not
air.
afraid of silence.
I am like
you know
fighting
what I mean?
myself from cutting her off. That's why we're two of the same.
Well, it's live air. Like you need to say something and hope that a point of view comes across before you're done. Do I got some on my teeth?
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, let's get the party started. The Sex Actually podcast, aka the SAP. It's your boy Dave Neal with Tasha Corney.
Hello.
And Michael Alberici.
Hello.
And his better half, Elaine. Are we doing last names or just Elaine?
Elaine is fine.
Elaine is fine. Thank you for joining us,
man.
Elaine. The best part of this podcast so far was me watching you mother him before we got started. You're like, bro, don't you need a napkin. You got dust on your fingers. Mike, what did we do before we had ladies to tell us what to do?
You just fumbled along in life, not realizing the impact that you have on everyone else.
No, we just masturbated a lot. That's about it.
Bro, we got along. We're both in our mid-30s at different stages
But
of our lives.
sometimes I wonder how you got here.
We were fine. We were perfectly fine before ladies came along. Yeah, we had a cum rag underneath the bed. We forgot about from the early
Really?
90s. We had things, yeah, you forget, you have shit in your teeth once in a while, but like you're fine. You survive. Now, you guys 3 years into your relationship, is that
Yes.
right? Is that what I heard on stage?
3 and some change.
3 and change.
Yeah.
How does that feel, Lane?
Seems it's long and short at the same time.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you blink and you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah. It's funny because before I was just thinking after our first date, I think he did a podcast. And he said he mentioned me, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Where is this podcast? I need to know what he said about me."
Yeah.
And he talked about our first date.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. You were like a little bit nervous. Like you wanted to talk about it, but you were like, I know she's going to listen to
You
this.
want to know a funny story, Tasha? Just for you. No, but for both of you. So on our second date, I didn't feel like she was feeling me attracted to me, right? Long story short, I made promises with her to meet up with her that night, but I blew her off, and I was
Why'd you do that?
because I didn't think she was feeling me.
Okay.
So I blew her off.
It's because I didn't kiss him. I didn't kiss him back on the first 2 dates.
Wow.
Well, that's like standard rule, I think.
Is it, though?
Yeah, I feel like you can
God,
wait
let's go off on this branch.
until like date 3. I don't know. Some people, I personally love to take it slow. I think that's like the best way to build a foundation.
Boy, Jesus Christ. We got 2 East Coast studs with a couple of floozy prudes over here. Let's do with this shit.
That's an
Suck a
oxymoron.
dick. Start the party. Let's go.
I like
my
to take it slow, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to wait until date 3 to kiss somebody for the first time.
It's funny because on our first date, it was I had a good time. We went to 2 different places. I think that alone it says that's at least a C+.
Where did you
date.
go? Where did you go?
We met at
Rush
Rush Street in Culver City, downtown Culver City, and we went to
Okay.
Public House across the street.
Wow,
you
you crossed the street.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but here's the thing: I walk her up to the parking lot, where she was parked and everything, and I thought it would just be a no-brainer. Like, I've been dating for over a year.
The kiss. The kiss is a no-brainer.
Yeah, this is coming.
Who doesn't want Mike
Yeah.
Alberici from
This is
Philadelphia?
literally like ordering from Amazon. Like I'm guaranteed
Prime this bitch.
a makeout sesh right now. Like clockwork, tick, tock, tick. Anyway. And then I go in for the kiss and I get like a defensive kiss, if you would. Like her lips were more pushing me away somehow. Like,
her lips were bouncers.
Yeah, like
Like
fuck
keeping you from the bar. Like,
and they
show your ID.
extended, they extended outward. Like, fuck no, not today. Yeah,
like a
and-
very firm lip.
Yes,
Like a
yes,
very tight
not,
lip.
yes. She
Just
turned
like
it,
a goalie just sitting with a winning shot, just
was-
trying to block it. No,
It was such a mind fuck because it's like, oh, kissing beautiful woman. All of a sudden, this is like how your grandmother kisses you.
Yeah, like
weird.
dry.
Yeah, it's very unpassionate. And so you automatically, as a man, put that together in your head as of when you're dating for a while. I was pretty much a veteran. I had a few Purple Hearts at that point.
So you wanted like young Rose from Titanic, but you got old Rose from Titanic.
Oh Jesus!
You got that old lady kiss.
Well, exactly.
But that just means that you were like misreading the signals. Like she was
Yes.
wanting to give it like a little bit
Yeah.
more time, play it a
Yeah.
little more cautious, and you just like went in there willy nilly.
Willy-nilly.
for it.
I thought I was obviously she was feeling me to some level, right?
Yeah, 3
Elaine,
years later.
did you think he was a player? Is that why you didn't want the kiss?
No, it wasn't that. It's just I wanted to get to know him better, and I'm not gonna.
Look, you saw the you
By
saw
the way.
surface Michael Alberici. That's all you're gonna get. Surface Michael Alberici is the best Michael Alberici. That's really nice that you wanted to get him to know him better. And that's the crazy struggle that men have is like we have like a lot of signs that where I think men are used to working their different maneuvers and then it working, and sometimes it doesn't, and you think, oh, this girl literally thinks I'm despicable, and in the end it's like no, she actually liked me. She was just like not ready for that next step or whatever.
Yeah, you want to make sure there's more there before you like invest your time and energy and your body. You want to make sure we're actually compatible. There, we've got some stuff in common. We see a future.
Sure.
But guys, I think are just horny.
Yeah.
Tasha gave me double chin no when I tried to kiss her, where I tried to kiss her, she goes,
Really?
Wow.
she like literally she did Matrix like, oh my God. And I like kept on going in like, I'm gonna keep reaching. Bro, there's no more humbling thing than to know like one of us, I either have to like pull back or she, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, and then I was like, oh, that was the weirdest thing of my life, but also like everything in my checkbook was ready for that kiss. Like, men don't willy-nilly throw a first kiss out. We go, there's like at least 12 things that need to go right for that kiss. We watched the sunset on the roof. It was raining outside. I walked her to the car. The window. All these things had to happen, and then I'm still getting rejected. Like, at no point was I getting
What?
rejected to that point.
How
and for
long
you,
were you dating in LA?
That was 4 years in.
That is quite an extensive list from
No.
the list I had.
No, ours
I
was-
take you out to Applebee's and you give me at least a hand job. That's the 2 check marks.
Yeah,
Anything
we
beyond
did 2
that.
for 22. We did the full entrees. What do you need? No, so yeah, so
That's a pretty big list.
so did you go in for the kiss and you just were rejected? You got the grandma kiss and that
Got the
was it?
grandma kiss, but here's the thing. So the funny thing about all this, and I think it could be maybe a good lesson for the listeners out there, is on how to maybe just be yourself and stop when you're playing this dating game and everything. I promised her on the second date, I had fun talking, but then I went in for the kiss again. It was even worse.
thing.
That's not the point. That's not even, same thing. Second date? What? You're not into me, or you're a lesbian. That's whatever.
Yeah, what is
you
it?
know?
The 30s? What do we? Is this
Yeah.
like World War II?
Do I got to meet
era?
your dad before I
Yeah.
kiss you? Jesus,
kind of-
we're already interracial. It's not going to work. We got to go somewhere where nobody knows us now because I'm in love with a Filipina.
That's right.
Yeah, but no,
Philly
thank God.
and Filipina. I love the two. Filipina.
Yeah. So listen. So we go on the second date and she does the same thing, and then but here's the thing. I was playing so many games at that point. I mean, I remember even having podcasts with you that you get turned a little evil. I was just like, oh yeah, sure. She said to me, like, we're gonna meet up, tonight, get some drinks. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. Let's do that. I want to, hit you up. And I knew as soon as I was saying it that I'm not gonna do that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I already had another thing going with somebody else.
Wait, so what did you said yes? Were you just gonna like ghost her?
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Yes.
You're
villainous
an adult man.
Villainous shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but
and
he knew
without
what
even an issue, almost like a fuck you. Like I was kind of like, God damn it! I gave you, no lie. At that point, you become a kind of a little. I would say a little weird and evil at the same time. Like when you're single for a long time, I don't know what the psychology behind
It's like
it.
a jaded sort of thing.
A psychologist should have a field day with things like that, like when just dating on Tinder and getting, or OkCupid.
Well, because you're riding a roller coaster when you're doing
Oh
a
my
bunch of
God,
first
but the
dates.
roller coaster keeps on like having the fucking terrifying fall. There's no brakes.
Yeah.
And so like you become to the point where it's not a big deal either because of the swipe right mentality, swipe left mentality, where if this doesn't work out, I will. And I live in Los Angeles. We don't even live in where I might like see you again, like St. Louis Obispo or something. No, we live in LA. I'll never see you again.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal.
But here's the problem: is that there's no set standard. Like, so like we have this checklist of things we think we need for like a girl to be into us that we're going through in our head. Because men, I mean, we're trying to minimize casualties. We're trying to minimize how embarrassed we can look. We don't want to kiss you on a public street and get the double chin. Like we're thinking everything's gonna be like the dude at the end of the war, all kissing the nurse in the middle. We think it's always gonna be that way. But like chicks, like some chicks will blow you without buying her dinner. Everyone's got a different standard. So then when you're like, I did dinner, I walked her, I held her hand, I did all the things. Why wouldn't she kiss me? And then, Susie over here is blowing you with an espresso machine the first night on a Tinder date. It's just, you don't know. It's
point is, date Susie's, obviously.
Hey, Susie, how are you? No, the thing, but it's just, and it's like, and it's not slut shaming. It's everyone's at a different place. So it's like, you need to be able to read the other person, but also know if you like them, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to take it slow. But also, a lot of times, in your case, Michael, a lot of times, the chick's just not into you.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean you
Absolutely.
did anything wrong, Elaine. I'm pointing at both of you like I'm sorry.
No, but it's true. You're right.
It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. It's just, but what women do, and again, people that talk about gender equality, they get so mad at this. Women set the standard for how the relationship's going to go. If a woman takes it slow and the guy still pursues her, I think the relationship could actually go longer.
Yeah,
again,
it's almost like I'm holding this to a high standard, and or like a high bar, and I want you to meet that bar. Like, let's see how high you can jump. You know what I mean? Like,
Tasha,
if you're willing to go the extra mile for somebody, then like your relationship has a higher chance of long-term success.
And Tasha set the standard high. We didn't go slow. We went slow on the kiss, but we did that like Matchbox car mode where you put it on that speed track and it starts doing flips. We were friends first and this and that. So like whenever we were like party on,
but
we partied
you can't
on.
like just skim over that foundation of friendship that we built, which I think was really important because I knew who you were as a person. I knew you were a good person.
That's what I wanted you to think.
Was it like, I'm sure you've had to say this before, but like, was it weird getting over that friendship?
Yeah, it was. It was super weird.
So you actually did have him in the friend zone.
Totally.
Well, but
I was prepared for him to live
like,
there forever.
Dave, so you were like the 1% that gets to wiggle back in,
the friend zone,
wiggle out of it.
But to my credit, I was only in LA for like 3 months or so before we started like canoodling, and then we crossed that threshold, and then as I've said, I don't do this like bit, but like I used to do a bit where like we hooked up, and then she looked at me and said that didn't happen. And I said, I've already texted all of my friends. It happened. I shot them all emojis. Champagne bottle pop. We did it. But it was hard. Yeah.
That's funny.
But then I had that moment. Then I had that moment afterwards where like I texted her later on that day to be like, "Oh, I hope we're cool. Like, I'd love to hang out more." And like just this reassurance. And I think you talked to your friend Cherub to like, and I think you told me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you were like, I think you were happy that you got the reassurance from me that I wasn't just trying to like conquer a situation.
No, I didn't think that of you. I just thought that like you can't put that back in the box. You know what I mean? Like, we were friends and like everything was cool, but I don't know if we can go back to normal after that.
I have to ask.
Yes, it was good.
It was?
I mean, I think I was pretty good. Yeah.
No, because like seriously, I don't know if I've ever experienced that. Like,
well, we weren't like
being with somebody that I considered a friend.
Well, I'll say this: I don't think we were traditional friends. I think if you reverse engineer it, we were very slow into getting into our relationship. But like the things we did escalate. I mean, like, look.
Yeah, when you moved to LA that second time and we were hanging out, that was the first time we were both single. When we were friends and getting to know each other, we were both dating other people. So like it was really easy for us to build that foundation of friendship, knowing that there wasn't any sort of like sexual tension or pressure between us. You know.
Well, there had to be some sexual tension.
No, it was just strictly platonic.
Tasha's right. I mean, like I found her beautiful and like super sexy, but I was already like heartbroken and different things going on.
Oh, really?
And then I lived in New York, and then that's when I was slinging dick, not taking names. You know what I mean? Like I was living in New York, being
Wait a minute. So when you had that first go around together, Dave, you didn't look at Tasha in any kind of way, like as like, wow, that'd be nice kind of thing.
I came to this house, right? I was heartbroken. I had a whole nother thing going on, and I was lonely. I was super depressed. I moved to LA by myself. I was lonely. I didn't have much work, and then we were gonna go on a hike or whatever. There, sure. I show up here, and I knew Tasha from New York, where she was. You were probably like 25 pounds lighter in New York. You were like a lot.
I was 15 to 20 pounds lighter at a point.
But I knew you as like the high fashion Tasha who was like pretty thin and like beautiful or whatever. And then when I come here and she's got biker shorts on with an ass. And I go, what is that? Yeah, what is this? And then we go on a hike and Tasha's sister was in town, Chelsea. And then I think Tasha's, this is years ago, but this was 7 or 8 years ago, a couple years before we dated. Tasha's sister was like, what are you doing? Are you doing anything with Dave? And Tasha was like, no. I think your sister was like, well, I'll give him my number. Swing that dick.
Oh my god.
Anyway, we stayed friends. I
hilarious.
moved back to New York, and then we kind of flirted from this distance. But honestly, a couple months before I moved to LA, Tasha visited New York, not to see me or whatever, but we hung out. And I'm telling you, I could tell she wasn't with whatever hold up she had before. She was like single, and like we hugged when we left each other, and it was like, oh shit. Fast forward 8 months later, and I find out last minute I'm moving to LA. First day I get back to LA, it's a Sunday. Football season just started, or like it's like October 1st or something. It's like the beginning of the, whatever. And I go hang out with Tasha. She's got all these other dudes that are all friends with her. We're all hanging out watching football together. And I just like stayed in touch and we hung out a lot. And then eventually I was like, I'm not going to let some other guy start dating you. Like, that's weird to me. I'm not like, we need to see where this goes before I become the cuck that is like filling your friend zone time while some other guy's doing the nighttime thing.
Oh god.
And that's just what it is. And a lot of times, and I tell people this, a lot of times you have to be ready. And again, I'm sorry for the like loyal listeners that might have
heard this story 10,000 times.
But then for the new people, you have to be ready to walk away. It's like you have to be able to walk away and not look back.
But also you have to spell it out. And like that was sort of the thing is like Dave and I came from a place where we were just friends, right? So I had a boyfriend. So he came to your show. You had a girlfriend. Like we were just friends, and then there wasn't any of that pressure there. So then when we were hanging out, when we were both single, there was still no pressure. It was like we were still in that friend zone place, and we never had that conversation like I'm into you, so it was like it took him sort of deciding that, like, you called it out. You said we were on a hike and I was like talking about some other dudes or something.
No.
And yeah.
You were talking
remember
about
I was
other
saying
guys to
yeah,
him.
because I had kind of been like casually dating.
You were deep in that friend zone.
First of all, I was seeing other women. So I'm not going to make this story out to be like I was like, well, I was batter up. When's my turn? No. Like I was doing my things. So I don't think this is, but
he got really upset because I was like, man, I'm just so over this like dating.
I'll tell you what it was.
I was like, I'm only dating guys who are over 50. That's what I said.
That was it.
I said, I'm so tired of all these like young idiots that are just giving me the runaround and like just, because guys in LA are immature.
Yes,
they are. They are like the slowest maturing bunch
but do you know
out
what?
there.
Do you know what I did? Do you guys know what I did when she told me that? I climbed a fucking tree. I just climbed up into a tree. That's what I did, right? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
I climbed into a tree.
What?
Yeah, I just was like, fuck it. And I just climbed. No, it wasn't like protesting, like, I'm going up here. And I think we both climbed a tree together. And then but I also had this moment where I was like, I could push her. But I was also like, I'm not like that didn't sit well with me. That like you think because you've been fucked up from past relationships that you need to date a 50-year-old. Like that's really your solution. It's a really
it's a pretty decent solution for any single girls out there who are tired of getting the runaround. Let me tell you, older is better.
Oh yeah, because I'm sure 50-year-olds really have their shit together.
My sister dates a guy that's 25 years older than her, and she's well taken care of.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stephanie Collins if you ever see this. Love you. My half sister.
Elaine, I'm sorry to make this all about us. Have you dated older guys?
No.
It just seems like sleazy. Like if the dude's older, what does he want from you? You know what I mean? Like you think he's really gonna like settle? You're gonna be the one that
his
gets
dick
to settle
doesn't
down?
work though.
Yeah, he's got old.
That's gotta count for something.
Yeah,
more nights off.
That's the problem. So that's not even a problem. It's actually an interesting business. You get a young girl that has a sugar daddy. And then she gets money from him, and then she gets good sex from somebody else, and then she comes back to him. That's a pretty good circle. Which
in its thought would work well. Like you could have someone who takes care of you, and then someone who gives you that good dick. But like in practice, I don't think we're all. Some people are able to make that work, where like you can like differentiate between like who's providing you your sexual needs versus your companionship. But I think in most
But why
cases,
not both?
Yeah,
Why couldn't that
exactly.
person be both?
because
Yeah.
you want a fucking old guy, and you got this dude.
We're talking about those women that do date those older men, basically.
Yeah, and it's
they're making a trade off.
But sometimes
I'm just saying,
people-
like 30 is the new 20,
Ah.
50 is the new 40. You know what I mean? Like we're in LA, so people are generally in shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that is
I-
true. That is true.
And in LA, women have to worry about men kind of like going after the younger thing. You know, like going
trading
after,
in the new model.
Yeah, I know. Like Tasha, I know. Like you've kind of been like wanting to know. You've wanted to know that I've got like you in my heart, and like we're good and like set for life. You know what I mean? Like, would you say that that's kind of like a priority to just?
Well, I think like financially, my business is built on young people, and so there is like an expiration date on me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get to a point where like I can't keep my weight down, or like I have too many wrinkles or whatever, and I'm just not gonna be as bookable, except for paper towel commercials, as I am right now. And so
And then we'll see where the
I'm
relationship
like,
goes after
Dave, like,
that.
I'm ready to retire. I'm really ready to like, quit paying the bills, and you can pay them.
Whereas Michael, we had like. Here's what's interesting. So, Elaine, you got like a traditional job, right? Are you
Yeah.
accounting or
I'm
finance? HR. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, so like you've got a traditional job, and in most traditional jobs, you slowly make more money as your career goes, and there's a process, and it's totally like set up so that you can retire at a certain age. What we struggle with is the fact that stand up a lot of times until you're like, oh my gosh, who the fuck is this guy? Cool. You're nothing.
Yeah.
And people, and you know what's interesting? Like, and by the way, today's mimosa show that we had was our best yet.
So much fun.
It was really fun.
We
It
had
was a really good
great
show.
I love that
Great
we
job,
went 22
everybody.
minutes without even mentioning it. Michael headlined it. You closed it out. We had
Closed it out.
We had Raquel Pomplin, right? We had Playmate of the Year, past guest. We had Leo Dottavio, who was last week's guest, do a set. Channing Apodaca, he's been on the show just as much as you have. And then Darren Capozzi, who am I forgetting? Jenny Zagrino was on our show years ago.
That one guy looks like Aquaman.
And then
Yeah, Leo.
That's
Oh
Leo.
my God.
Dude was on Bachelorette. Dude, like
Yeah.
fucking, and he brought people came, they were in town from Michigan and they came to the show. He had like legit fans that were in town.
That's
and then
amazing.
Raquel had like her group of fans, and it's just cool to see.
Raquel's fans, that one fan had the best laugh.
Yeah, that
Did she not? I didn't catch her name,
you know
but
what
she
I'm
had the
talking about?
greatest laugh. It
Somebody was standing
Somebody's
out. I forgot how
laugh
that laugh went.
was like, yeah,
It
you know
was-
what? Well,
was like like a very high pitched,
Yeah.
really loud laugh.
God.
but the thing
Those are the
is,
best.
it's like and again, Mike, I told you this after the show. Like we're at the place where we get to like see each other grow as comedians, but also you might go 6 months or a year without seeing someone set.
Sure.
So when we perform in front of a hot audience, it's fun to see each other do very well.
Sure.
And it's like there's no other way to sort of see how we stand in our career than to perform well on stage.
Yes.
And it might not relate to like a check from Comedy Central right away, but there is something of value there when you can do what is considered to be one of the hardest things in the world to do, in a certain sense. There's like a psychology behind performing and making it look easy. Like I did a show last night in Hermosa Beach, and the whole audience was heckling. It was a fucking shit show, but it was a full crowd of people, and like every comic was a professional comedian that dealt with just whack-a-mole, every heckler, finished their bits, and it made it look super easy. But it would have swallowed a shit comic
Yeah.
whole. That room
Yeah.
last night would have swallowed. I mean,
Yeah, they would have
these
eaten somebody
bitches
alive. It was crazy.
showed, everyone had their own wine glass and showed up to everyone.
Yeah, it
people-
was like a BYOB and bring your own snacks kind of thing. So
And
everybody had their
Oh,
like
man.
wine glasses
Yeah.
and were
You gotta be on your feet.
wasted.
Yeah.
They were so wasted. I've never seen so many wasted ladies think that the show was about them. You know what I mean?
It
Like
was, yeah. In the front, the back. I mean, everyone. And there's one chick that was sitting right in front of Tasha. This old lady. When she stood up, she had a belly necklace on. What's that called?
belly chain.
She had a belly chain on. It's like, all right, Britney Spears, you're 40. What are you doing? She had that on, and she shushes another heckler. She goes, shh, and then she heckles. So she goes, shh. Yeah, I think she literally.
like within a breath.
Can't shush a heckler and then heckle.
That's interesting though.
Anyway,
that you could think of doing
point,
that.
The point was is
Don't
that
bother that man. You suck.
yeah, it's like she was like bouncing and all. So the point was is that like, look, we all we all got paid $20. Oh yeah, great, doing great. But like you don't get to like measure what that junior level is that you're at up until you're that guy who's making $8,000 a night. Up until like, you might do a Comedy Central half hour, get paid $50,000. Taxes, agent, manager, you got 7. Okay, good. You might get to do Just for Laughs Festival. You don't get paid a thing for that, but you get a pilot out of it. All these little things. Whereas if you had a normal career, you'd be like junior account executive making $60,000, looking really cool. But unfortunately, all we have to go by it is our blood, sweat, and tears until the point where we're like fucking killing it. Sitcom in your name.
It's funny. It's funny you should mention that because on my way to here, I had a really brief discussion with my lovely girlfriend about that very subject. I was thinking to myself because I had fun today doing comedy, and sometimes
what's that like?
Sometimes it's not fun. Like sometimes it's hard, and I was just like basically like I was just saying on how much I had fun. Shit, now I lost my train of thought on that.
But there's no monetary.
Huh? We were talking. Shit.
No. Well, let me jog your memory. So, like, Elaine, do you worry? I mean, first of all, you got to see Mike have a great set today, but you also he drives for Uber. Like, I've got the same thing where I have shit side jobs, but I also feel like I'm really on my path for stand up. Do you worry about where he's going, his trajectory?
No, because I want him to do comedy.
You want him to do something that he loves?
Yeah, I want him to be happy. That's what we were talking about. Because if he did something else,
that's it. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's exactly what I was trying to say. I lost it because it was a long conversation.
Well,
and basically, what I said was, let me just get it out while I have it. However hard stand-up comedy is, and how the pitfalls that it has, and how it can be very challenging mentally and physically, I still won't quit because I'm afraid that my life will, because my life seems, knock on wood, perfect. I'm never happier. I'm in the best relationship I've been. I've never looked and felt better myself, health-wise. I have more understanding about the world around me. I feel like now I have better friends than I've ever had in any time in my life, and I'm 38 years old. I feel like there's more winners in my life than losers, where I could never have said that, even 3 years ago. And, as hard as comedy is, driving out the deserts to get paid in gas money, that you really don't. It's more than that, asshole. $20? What the fuck is this? You cocksucker. But all right, will you book me again and give me maybe 40? 20 again? All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll be there.
See, but that's the point. So you go through all that, and yet still, harsh crowds, all the bullshit, the politics, blah blah blah, and you still, at least for me, I can say this. I really feel like the universe is saying, I'll take care of you. Just keep going. Be true to yourself. Don't cop out. Because every time I ever think about quitting, I think about what I'll do.
Like, what's your backup plan? Like, what's your next move?
But that's the point, Tasha, is that it's always a backup.
Yeah.
It's never on the forefront of my mind. I have to search for that.
Yeah.
And I've been in comedy long enough that those things are buried. I don't think about those really anymore because of what I've been doing. Like, I used to think about them all the time when I got out of college. Like, what can I be? And it was like juggling these things. Those things slowly got buried where I don't even recognize them anymore. So when I even think about quitting, I get this sad feeling of being lost with no direction.
Because you would be. You would have to start from zero again, figuring out something that you might be passionate about and give it a try, and we'll see. And
I guess what I'm trying to say in the long storm is just, it's something is driving me. I'm not trying to be spiritual or any way, but I feel like if I stopped everything, and that's what I said to her earlier. That's why I lost my train of thought, because this was a long, very heartfelt conversation. I said to her that I feel like everything would crumble. Then she went on this brilliant rant, my girlfriend Elaine, on how you would stop being in shape. You would stop eating right. You would take a job that you hate. You would treat me like shit. You would be short with me. You would, we would be arguing, and then she would find a guy. Yeah, she'd be like, and then she'd get to the point where she's like, "You're not worth the dick," and then leave.
And then there's that 50-year-old guy, and she's like, "All right, that's it."
Yeah,
but yeah, it's. Talk about some philosophy coming from Philly over here. I mean, I got to tell you, but it's right. It's like I've always said this: my plan B is not having a plan B. It's like the success comes from not having an escape route. Your chewing is disgusting. I'm gonna just turn you off. Right no, chew ahead. I turn your mic off. That's how good I am. You've got. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to eat. So just eat ahead. But it's no. You're right. I turn your mic. You chew away. But it's a good point. And Elaine, here's what we struggle with, right? Like I truly believe Tasha believes in me, but also like we want to buy a home. She's in the sort of peak of her career with like money making, and I don't contribute at the level that she does on a checkbook level. But I'm also like, I work as hard as anybody in any field that's out there because I do full time on my side gig and I do stand up and just like you, driving around, happy to cash my check from Ventura County for a $20 bill or whatever. And then I'm just like, and then I'm filling up in gas and $38. I'm getting a $20 bill in my pocket and $38 in gas.
100%.
Happy as a fucking clam because I made the audience laugh, and I know that I'm building that into something bigger. But it's also, it's very hard to show that as like sort of somebody if you're on your way to success and it takes 15 years to like reach the top of your game, and we're 7 or 8 years in any other field, if a doctor, someone who's making $250,000 a year, we'd be 6-figure income people. We'd be slinging dick. We're in our 30s. We're doing well. But in stand up, and I don't mean this as limitations, we're in the place where like there's still like this crowded field, and we haven't necessarily broken free in the front of the marathon. But anyone in our field knows our friends like Jay Hollingsworth, even Kane Holloway, Kelsey Cook, Kane's girlfriend. They've both been on the podcast. There's different pacing, but there's like successes along the way. Yeah. And it's not always a big publisher's clearinghouse check, but they're
ownership. Little breadcrumbs that are like enough to let you know that you're on the right path.
You know what? You know what's so funny about all this? Let me tell you a story. No, just kidding. But I've kind of ascertained from I will say no less than an Eagles Super Bowl championship.
Oh, fuck
listen,
you!
It's true.
You're shit.
Listen, when the Eagles, I'm a lifelong Eagles fan. I'm 38 years old. I've loved the Eagles since 1987. Watched every game. Right now, there's a point to this, is that when they won the Super Bowl, I'm like 36, and this is the first time I'm seeing this. I should be elated. I actually was a little empty. Because as a fan, I've reached the mountaintop. It was like, there's nowhere to go. We're not playing again. And I wonder when people talk about, because you were saying, Dave, about these little small victories in comedy and the ups and the downs and all that kind of stuff. Wait a minute. What the fuck is making it exactly? Is Kevin Hart ever saying to himself like, oh, that's it? No, he's doing serious movies now.
Yeah.
Whether he's not good or whatever in those movies is another thing. I got to see it. I haven't seen it, but he's doing that now. There should be no I've made it in anything, if you ask me.
Yeah, as soon as you think I've made it, then it's like you're practically dying. Like
exactly.
you're on,
that's exactly
like,
right.
That's it. You got to always be striving for that.
Stagnant water breeds bacteria. A pond is not something you want to drink water out of. It's just sitting there, and it breeds it's just not good for you. But running water, staying fluid, staying active, but also like we have to realize, like I always told Tasha this, I truly believe this. Like I need to find other sources of income to give me the ability to go on stage and like do my thing without worrying about like where the check's coming from. So I need that for my own security, but also I truly believe that the love we share through the podcast will buy us our home. I know it's not there, but it's something tangible that's like, like we have our Patreon, right? Like we've got a following we're building, and they come to shows. It's not huge, but you add a few zeros at the end of the decimals, and it's like they're there. And when new people find us, they've got 300 plus episodes to be like, have at it. We've let you into our life. And that's what comedy is all about, is a lot of times people will find a new comic and then they'll binge all their things on YouTube and be like, who the fuck was this guy? I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like having some like, and I say like a tangible product, but the product is really our stories. And as for comics, it's your bits, and it's having that sort of thing that you're trying to share with others. It's not rocket science. We're not, you know what I mean? Like maybe you sell a t-shirt because that's the way for your audience to buy things, but they're not buying, no one needs a fucking t-shirt. They're buying you. They're trying to find a way to support you. If you have an album, they're probably going to throw it out. They don't even have a fucking, you're selling a CD. They don't even have a CD player in their car. They're just buying it to support you because they want you to do well. We've got some Patreon members that started to do that, where they just like, look, we just want to like fucking support you. We think you're doing the right thing. Just like the more money we can put into you, the less time you need to spend doing your bullshit.
Yeah.
And then it just amplifies. And then we've got guys like like Leo, who was on the show today, you know, like I said, he had people there from Michigan. They were in town. They were happy as a clam to see Leo. Leo's new to comedy, which is great. You know what I mean? Like we're all at different levels. But like imagine that. Imagine 50 times that. Having a whole room of people like excited to see you. They're taking their lady out. You got to see this guy. $20 a ticket. You got to see this. Oh, merch after the show. He's going to take photos with us. No way.
But that's what I even said to Elaine today. I was like, you know, that show is kind of cool. And like, you know, I was saying, like, if I was a 9 to 5 guy, you couldn't tell anybody that you got to have free mimosas and watch a bunch of people try to make people laugh. You know,
how cool is that show?
And you get to do that all the time with a boyfriend who is doing stand up. You get to like go to these places and just get the laugh. One day I'll be hopefully paid well for it. You know?
Yeah, there's just so many shit shows. But like today, like every comic's going to get like a $15 or $20, whatever. People were throwing money in my pocket because it's a free show. We accept donations.
You just get my tacos.
Yeah, cool. Fucking there you go. Get your fucking tacos, right? But like it's cool. Like I used to, when I was on the road opening for for Craig Shoemaker, I was getting, you know, I don't know, $600 to $900 a weekend. I didn't deserve that. I was a year and a half into comedy. I didn't deserve that. But like you cash the checks, it's good.
It's like a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. You didn't deserve it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. A lot of money. But then I go back to New York and I think it was Gotham Comedy Club, and I think I got $25. They give you cash. The bartender has you sign a slip, and that's your spot pay. You get $25. And I go, I'm like the dopamine, everything about it. I am happier with $25 than $900 because I booked it on myself. I did my spot. I did all these things, and it's that. You know, you take the big money when it comes. Like, don't get me wrong. So, like, if a sitcom comes and you make $100,000 an episode, awesome. I guarantee the money you get from selling out your first theater will feel better than anything any corporation will ever give you, because that's like all the fucking seeds you planted. Everything just become like coming to fruition, and they're coming to see you.
Finally, spring.
So we need spring to come, folks. but my question being though is that, like, so for Elaine, you
know what I could say that's funny about all this is how I just want to mention how lucky I am, okay? Because
we know
what happened. No, because what happened was when I made that plan. That's just basically just bringing this thing full circle, and how I was a little evil back then, you know. And I meet up with this other lady who I know is gonna like put out. You know, she was a little loose cannon.
Hedge your bets.
Yeah, exactly. And never mind with what's her face short Filipino.
Won't even kiss you. What the fuck?
You are gone.
You got a girl's
forever.
gonna put out.
See
you
wouldn't want to be you. You know. Yeah, that's how I was. I was in a different zone. So I'm at this woman's place. You know, doing things that I don't know what rated this is, but whatever. Yeah.
Butt
and
stuff.
I don't even want to. So the one thing I'll say is I get a text probably around like I'm gonna say 11:30, and
he said, "Oh, let's meet up around 8."
Yeah.
Oh, earlier that night.
Yeah. So I get a text around.
I was like, okay, and so I texted him like around 11,
and then basically I get a text saying that. If you don't like me and you're not into me, why don't you have the balls to tell me? At least just keep it real. That's all I want you to do. And that something along those lines.
Yeah, Mike. The fuck?
Yeah,
I'm on Elaine's side now.
Don't just
Exactly.
like go. And not
Right,
say.
exactly. So I never got that before. Like,
But Elaine, what was it? What did it feel like to like set the parameters there? Was that easy for you to be like, go fuck yourself?
Yeah, it was easy for me because I think it was my first time online dating. I've never done it before. I actually didn't want to do it.
I'm so sorry that he was your first time.
Well, no, I was doing it for about 6 months.
Did you get your money back after this?
And every date I was going on, every guy that I met, they were cool, they were nice, they're handsome. There's just no chemistry. And I wasn't playing games. And so, like, you know how guys message you and, like, they message you for weeks. And I'm like, fuck this. Like, no.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to be strung along.
Yeah.
Like, either take me out or whatever. Let's see if we have chemistry.
Clock's ticking.
I was like, because you won't know if you have chemistry with somebody until you meet with them. So I'm like, hey, let's have coffee or drinks or whatever. And so I was going on these string of dates where nice guy, no chemistry. And I wasn't playing games. And so I was like, hey, like, if you're not into me, then that's fine. Just tell me. I don't want to waste your time or waste my time.
So you thought-
did you feel like you had chemistry though? Were you like sort of hopeful about this when you were looking forward to like drinks at 8?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
So 3.5 hours go by, and you're just
stewing mad.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't.
I would have been
wasn't
stewing mad.
I wasn't really mad. I was just annoyed. I was just like, well, he said he was going to meet up with me.
because here's
Yeah.
you know your
Yeah.
self-worth.
Yeah.
Like and again, to dissect the communication, Mike just thought you weren't into him that much, which is fair.
Yeah.
to
I didn't
think that-
kiss him.
And but we've been with girls that just weren't into us, and then we're like,
But
he
you know
was a
what?
nice guy.
It's so funny because, that happens, and then here's what I do though. I hit her. I think I texted you back pretty quickly.
Yeah, he
And-
told me he fell asleep.
Yeah, I told her I fell asleep, and I kept that secret for about 2.5 years.
He told me like just a few months ago. He's like, by the way, I have something to tell you. I was actually with another girl that night. And I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah. And then she took it. Whatever. She'll probably slap me in the head again later. But
No, but it's like it's early on, and you can't judge someone for when we break it down. I'm not giving Mike a pass. I'm just saying it's messy. It's like you get what you pay for, right? You're on some free dating shit or whatever. You
I
get
would
what you pay
usually
for.
encourage people to not necessarily be sleeping around, but to be like dating around. Like, of course, you're going on multiple dates. So you're just trying to see who you have chemistry with.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing wrong with like thinking, oh, I might have interest in this guy and maybe this guy too. And you're allowed to do that until you figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I'll try to get through this, but I think it can put everything in perspective, at least for me, is, it's funny because when I first met Elaine and we actually, so I invited her, to this third date, and I was like, remember Mike Mitchell?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to produce comedy shows.
Bringer
Those
guy,
horrible.
yeah.
I invited her to one of those, and she was the only one laughing. And so I was like, wow, she's really trying to have a good time. But here's the thing. When she had a lot of things about her that I didn't like when we first started dating. And one of those was that she was a smoker.
Yeah.
And, her brother was taking advantage of her. She had, no money in her. She was supporting her brother. All these horrible things that I felt like I can't deal with this myself. Because, I don't want to be with somebody that smokes, and I don't want to be with somebody that lets people walk all over them. So we had to grow from there. She quit smoking, and she stood up to her. She stood up to her.
you.
She stood up to her brother. Kind of like a no nonsense person. And I always told her you need to live for yourself, and that's what she does. She had a job where she was making whatever, get by money for LA. She quit that job for a better job, and then she quit that job for even her dream job. Essentially, now she makes more money than she could have ever dreamed of.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the point is that
She's paying for tacos.
no, but it's like LA. I feel fortunate because I easily could have missed out on all of that.
Because you didn't think she was into you.
Yeah, and exactly. And I would have never known, of course. But
Scary. Very scary.
It is. I think about it all the time because I'm living the best life I ever could live right now. And it's all almost I almost spited myself out of all of it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that
That's really like
people need to be a little patient, just a little bit. Sometimes it's just you can tell it's not going to work out. But there was problems with me. She saw me through so much with my temper and all that through.
Our first
my
year was our
health.
worst year.
Our first year together
our
was our
first year was the
absolute
worst
worst year.
year.
We were fighting constantly. We had horrible, almost borderline violent fights.
over what usually?
One time.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
It was-
Here's a funny story. So I have to. This is a really funny.
Here's a funny
this is
violent
a really
story.
It's a pretty fucking funny story. Okay, since my lovely lady is here, she can abide by whatever. She can chime in. But I work for this app. I still do it. I clean houses. I'm not proud of it, but I do it because I gotta make money. But I clean houses through this app. One day, a couple of years ago.
We got to hire you here, by the way.
Yeah.
We need to hire this
Well,
guy.
one day.
Wait, if we hire him to clean houses in a Patriots shirt, like we do
If
that?
I lose a bet, if Daenerys dies tonight, I'll do that.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, but let me
Spoiler.
just. Yeah. So.
Continue.
Wait, where was I going?
You clean houses.
Yeah, so I clean houses, and then so this is our maybe we're 8 months in, well in that first year. So I had to clean houses for this lady, and remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very good.
this lady turned out to be a little older or whatever. I tried to clean her house, but she kept on wanting to talk to me and drink a little bit, just chill, whatever. And she ended up her roommate was like a multimillionaire that left cash all over the apartment. And she was just like, I haven't been on a date in a long time. I want you to take me on a date. And I was like, miss, I don't really make a lot of money and I have a girlfriend. I can't do that. And then she's like, no, I'm gonna take care of everything. You just pretend that you're paying for it. I'm gonna get, and then I'm like, well, I'm dressed like shit. She's like, she gave me $500. Buy yourself something nice. Be back in a half hour.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
I was like, well, I don't have sneakers. You're terrible. I couldn't take one of my roommate's Air Jordans, like perfect fit. So yeah, I went on a date and got paid for it. And then so she's calling, just fucking trying to figure out where I'm at. Like she ended up
Because he was like missing for like 6 hours. And I'm like, where is he?
Yeah, why is he not answering the phone?
Yeah,
Like that's the sketchy part is like
Yeah.
answer
Why
the
am I not
phone
answering
or
the phone?
answer
Yeah.
the text
Sure.
to say, hey, sorry, got caught up, call you in a few. You know?
Because
And
usually
it-
he'll just like text me like working. I'm like, cool, okay.
And what happened next?
So, I think I remember where he told me he was going to be. And so
In Santa Monica.
I started freaking out. And so I actually drove around Santa Monica. And I remember the actual
Where did your mind go? Like, what did you think was up? That he would like got run over or
something.
like
I didn't know. And that was driving
Yeah.
me crazy. Because I was like, is he hurt? Is whatever. I don't know. My mind was going everywhere. And so I was driving around. I remember calling everybody. I'm like, I know you may not even know, but like, have you heard of anything like that happened to Mike? Whatever, by chance. And anyways, I remember the parking structure for some reason. I'm like, let me just drive around this parking structure. I found his car, and I parked right next to it. And it was like, I don't know what time you left in the morning for this job. It was like in the morning.
It was like 2 a.m. by this point.
Yeah. It was like
Jesus
2 in the
Christ.
morning, and I'm
and
waiting.
you
I'm
hadn't
texting-
answered
yeah.
why didn't you text her
No.
back?
I was with another woman.
The parking structure,
Yeah.
Bill.
I was with another woman.
I look in his car and I see a shopping bag, and I'm like, I see the clothes that he was wearing that day, and so I'm like, what the fuck? Why is these like? So now my mind's thinking all other things.
You ready to like golf club his car? I want to golf club his
Yeah.
car. Listen to this.
Absolutely.
And then
I deserve it.
and then he runs to his car because I'm sitting in my car right next to his. I see him run to his car and I get out. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, she can't. I had no idea. She
was there.
surprised
Eyes
the fuck out of me, dude.
Yeah.
Like it was.
He has brand new clothes, like a leather jacket. He had no shoes on. I'm like, why are you
I
wearing?
had to give back the Jordans.
Ah!
And I was
And
just
she's
like,
like, you can walk yourself
What a
out.
bitch!
Yeah.
Leather jacket,
Yeah.
no shoes.
and he was so drunk.
Wasted.
He was so drunk. I was so mad at him because I was like
Yeah.
so
You
worried.
almost broke up.
All the things that he put me through that night.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
She was ready to be done. That was the
Yep.
closest we have. The only reason we're
Yeah.
telling this story is just because, well, it is kind of entertaining, but also it's like we almost fucking were done. Why wouldn't we be done? I was.
So what's
but
what's the lesson in the event?
It's just I really just want to bring it up as like we could have easily have called it quits after that, and she would have been justified to dump me without a doubt.
So what's the insecurity? Like, where are you at, Mike, in that situation where you thought,
know,
like, what? Yeah, tell me about that. Like,
yeah, it's funny because like I don't know what to say other than the fact that it's just weird now because like I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I really am getting to the point where like I don't really care about other women, and I'm like kind of like I used to think like I can always do better no matter who I was with. Like there's always better, strive for more. I'm really at the point now where I'm like very like content in who I have.
Well,
and
because
appreciative.
that feeling is a status symbol. So a lot of times, and I've come to terms with this myself, where I've always been like, why did I always want to date the thing that was going to make my friends most proud?
Me too.
And it's
Me
like,
too.
And it's
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't mean it couldn't be a good girlfriend,
Absolutely.
but it's like,
That's so true.
what is it that makes you want to like have this trophy that then gives you validation? And again,
Especially when you already said yourself, like the thing that makes a relationship the best is when you have a partner that pushes you and each other, you push each other to be better and better and better versions of yourself.
100%.
Like that's the
Yeah.
number. I mean, that's really like the best you can hope for in a relationship
Yeah.
is to have a partner that encourages you, that fights for you, that has your back. And like, you know, that the only way you get to finding that person is through adversity.
Hell yeah.
You know?
and again, it's not. It's there's a million podcasts where we talk about the struggle of women, and of course like there's different equations to like what makes us complicated humans. But for men, we've got this pressure to like have the perfect thing that is there to support us. And
Yes.
there's no perfect thing. Like Tasha's amazing. you're like, you fit me very well with like what makes us better. Like we sort of have like an abrasiveness that like really strives for the best. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of friction creates fire if it's not too much to like burn the fucking house down. Like we have a little, you know what I mean? We'll like nag and this and that, but it's like, it's productive, right? I mean, but like in the past, I've had toxic relationships where I got to go like, why did I think that was the thing? And you look back on it and just go, every guy thinks, you know, all of our friends, everyone we've ever been with, everyone imprints on us this desire to have like this knockout, perfect, everything. Oh my gosh. And then like, so then we receive our value from that. And who are you if you're not? And it doesn't mean that you guys both, Elaine, Tasha, aren't amazing women. It's just this pressure. And then all of a sudden, we find something that's perfect right in front of us, but we still have this gear that's like, I still got to keep. So it's like, we got to turn down this system we've had our whole fucking lives.
That's true.
And just put the brakes on like pursuing better and know that we've got the best right here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like,
because you cultivate it.
Yeah.
and then
Cultivate
and then
it.
you're cleaning, you're dusting some lady's fucking dresser, and then she's giving you that sort of value that like that triggers you to be like, oh, okay.
It's so true. It's like, it's weird, man. How I think that's like one of the key ingredients to a good relationship that maybe gets overlooked the most is admiration for one's partner, in the sense that like she gives me these moments throughout our relationship that I think is a signal of growth. For instance, like she was a smoker before she quit, right? That's a pretty amazing feat, you know, like to do that alone after 15 years of smoking. Yeah. Quit.
Stunted her growth.
Yeah. Obviously. But like, you know, that's a hurdle, right? And then it's like another thing and then another thing. And like, and then I remember one time she doesn't get a chance to work out. She's an office woman. You know, she has a strenuous schedule as it is, and she does work out when she can. I remember we were jogging one time, and then throughout the jog, she's kind of stopping just a little bit here and there. And then we get to the end, and there's a huge hill, and I sprint up that hill every time. And I just said, "Look, I'm going to wait for you, and you just do what you got to do. I understand that. You know, thank you for coming out." So I'm just like, or coming out with me, and so I'm jogging. I run as fast as I can, and then I finish. I look back, I'm thinking I'm going to have to like get out my whatever and find her. She was right fucking behind me. She sprinted up right there. No, but it was like, she was like, no, I'm not to be outdone type of person. Like, you know how people show their true colors when they're drunk? It's weird. Like my dad's a happy drunk, you know, I'm a happy drunk for the most part. I just want to be happy with everybody, right? Her, no lie, is, I want to take over the fucking world. I want to be a boss, bitch. She's a 4'9" Filipino lady. Is like, and I'm like literally like, I'm gonna be a power couple just because I'm associated with you. You know, like
she's got dictator drunkenness.
She really does, man. Like she's definitely like could be Gaddafi's mistress, at least Gaddafi's mistress. I think like I said, getting back to it, admiration for one's partner, I think is key. It's just as important as sexual chemistry or even having just random things in common. Like just the growth of the relationship, is to me obvious, and it's not even stating the obvious, but I just feel like people can, when they're constantly purposely growing. That's another thing. People think that growth is like something that just happens sometimes, I think. Like, as long as I'm living, I'm going to keep on growing. No, you got to kind of consciously grow.
Yeah, it takes challenges.
Yeah. You got to face challenges and face fears. Yes, absolutely.
Do you guys both let each other know how you're succeeding? Like, do you let
affirmations?
each other know?
Well, all the time. Yeah. I think we actually probably go a little overboard, I think. Yeah, we like, because I get high every day. I'm high. I was high since the podcast. Sorry about that. Sorry about the brain fart. I hope you'll edit that out. But anyway, I think I made a good point after that. But you know, like we have, like, because like I really think that weed has something to do with that. But we do have these introspective conversations, like at least multiple times during the week. We it's crazy because we really do. I constantly I can tell her anything, and it's so, and I know that's so cliche, but. Like even like just crazy ideas, and like, you know, you can't tell your craziest ideas to everybody. You really can't. You have to tell that to your best friend because your best friend will know, like, you can do that, or you know, like just whatever it may be, you're going to get the most honest answer. And I can do that with her. It's like I can just throw out the craziest shit that my mind might wander in because I'm a dreamer. I want to do as best I can here. And she's like telling me like, hey, man, I hear you and let's go. Let's go to the mountaintop.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
That's good to hear.
yeah. So I just feel like that's why we work, and I really feel like we're kind of a rare couple in LA because
You know, it's very hard to find somebody who wants to like wreck the planet with you.
Oh, yeah.
just fucking
100%.
tear shit down.
Yes.
We went to a conservation where it was an animal conservatory.
Yeah, it was like it's called Wildlife Learning
You guys should come with
Center.
us. We went, and it was. I googled yesterday morning. I knew Tasha was going through. I knew she hasn't been feeling great, and I googled. I googled where can I find a sloth in Los Angeles, and I was like, a sloth will fix it. And I found this place in Sylmar, which is just north in the valley, right on route. It's on 5 in the 118 or whatever. It's a 210, whatever. It's up there. And I found this place, and they have all these rescue animals. They have a giraffe. They got all these different fucking monkeys and bald eagles and parrots and shit. So it's like, I'm gonna take her there. So we go up there. And we go, and it's like $12 to get in, and it's all like 8-year-olds. It's like all kids, and we're just fucking loving it, bro. We saw lemurs, and yeah, so we see these 2 lemurs, and every rescue animal has like a thing behind
like a little
it.
plaque that says its story.
Yeah, every rescue animal. So like these 2 lemurs, right? They were brought to Indiana to be a part of other lemurs, you know, like they were like rescued because the lemurs only exist like in the world in Madagascar.
Oh, okay.
But they were brought to Indiana to this one zoo, and they didn't take in the whole zoo. The other lemurs hated these 2 lemurs.
Yeah, they didn't let them into their pack or whatever.
So and it can get violent. So they were like, "Fuck, we got to get these 2 lemurs out of here." So they brought these 2 lemurs to this one conservation, and we got to see these 2 lemurs, and they were hanging out in their own lemur cage, happy as clams. And I'm like, Tasha, you're my lemur. We're lemurs together. We don't fuck the society. We don't need them. We got us. We got our thing. If they don't think the funny things that and that's what you look for. It's like a mate to just survive the world with, because the world can be a mean place. You know what I mean? It can be kind of a fucked up, weird place. And you look for somebody who just kind of like tolerates and appreciates you.
I believe it was Elaine that told me that Tom Hanks says that his family is like love for his wife and his kids and everything is like his sanity in this crazy business that he's in. And I feel like, you know, because he has somebody he can confide in. I think he's been married to his wife for over 20 years at least. Maybe 30.
Yeah.
And he said it helped him get through the industry. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I've scored so big, like, because of that. Like, there's so many comedians out there that are lonely, man.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that way.
It creates good comedy.
It can, but you've also got the Jim Gaffigan's in the world, and you got plenty of people that can find success, and also be happy.
Yes,
but there's a trope that you have to be this miserable, whatever.
No, that's not true at all.
It can breed comedy. But you know, if you're like me, like my life, I'm fucked up enough where I can have a happy relationship and still find humor in other things. Sure. I can go hang out with these lemurs and still be happy with where we're at. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it becomes very hard and challenging, but also appreciative when you do recognize that you found that. Now, coming from the both, you know, I'm not saying we've got similar upbringings, but like Mike, you're a Jersey Shore type of guy. You beat the fucking beat. You do your thing. I'm trying to tell Tasha about my fraternity days. I'm trying to like share these stories with her, and it's fine to like reminisce, but it's also nice to see when you found something that's worth fighting for, to say this is good. The plateau of perfection is found when you just know what something is. And if you're in a relationship where it's just like, you know, needy or not or just jealous, and you can like we're in a relationship where I think we do compete in certain ways. Like, I'll always be happy when Tasha succeeds, but also like, you know, like I want to rise to her level. And there's like that healthy competition that makes 2 people better, because I'm not trying to be a better Tasha. I'm trying to be a better Dave.
Yeah.
Right. And then I want her to be a better Tasha as she meets me at my Dave. I don't want
Tasha's the inspiration.
I mean, yeah, I don't want, what good is it for me to be sitting up at my high horse successful and she's not there, or vice versa? Like, you want to rise and help each other build that path to that level.
That's where I'm at now. Is this because, you know, she, like I said, she had a good job, and then she's like, I don't want to do it anymore, and she quit just to get like a way better job. And I was just like, I am like still doing, open mics and bars and shit. And like, I gotta fucking get this shit together. Like she's gonna leave me, damn it. And,
we build each other up.
yeah. So it's like, I'm trying to, like you said, like she's kind of got the baton, I guess, so to speak, and I'm really desperately like, she's my motivation to just keep up with her, and then hopefully maybe go beyond. But,
so Elaine, where do you see you guys going? Like what's there to work on? Are you guys are you still having like fights and disagreements and communication issues?
Well, I think in regards to fighting, we realized after like the first year, we're fighting wrong, because it was more about like, I need to win, he needs to win, and we weren't addressing the actual issue that we were fighting about.
It's not about
you
winning?
were like learning from your mistakes and like being able to build.
Yeah. And I remember like, I was just like, hey, like, it's not you against me. It's us against this problem. And so we've learned to communicate better and we fight better. I don't think, knock on wood, we haven't had a fight.
How did you guys learn to fight better? Did you do therapy or you just
I think because, like Mike said earlier, like when we were fighting, or when we had fights, it'd be like borderline volatile. Like we're screaming, we're yelling, and nobody
crying. Wants that. No. So like once you're on the same page, like, hey, we want this to work. We want this relationship
to work.
Hard.
It's still hard to avoid that.
Well, because it's an emotional response. We talked about like the limbic system, like stuff happens in your nervous system that makes you think that it's personal and you've got to fight that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been big on the fight or flight. Like Tasha mentioned, the limbic system. We've been big on that of how we trigger each other to think it's like end of days. So simple fights become me versus you, and we're about to go watch is it the finale Game of Thrones? We're about to go watch the finale Game of Thrones. So I'm not spoiling anything. We haven't watched it yet, but we fight Game of Thrones style, where I'm like, I will protect my wall. I don't, you know what I mean? And we're like fighting like epic fights over nothing.
Yeah,
and it's like why?
Yeah. And actually, you said. Trigger, and like I've learned his triggers, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't make that a big deal.
What's his trigger?
Well,
go ahead. Say it. What is?
Like,
anything.
Being a Philly bitch.
No, I don't know. Like if he had a long day, and like I'll nag him about something, it's like, no, not right now.
So you need to know like when to give him space to sort of like unwind.
Yeah, or just like when to step back. Like you know what? I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna bother him about that. Whatever, I'll just give him that. And so like that takes time too. This learning that about each other.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. Isn't it wild how like we were all enlightened humans. We can all find success on our own. Yet coexisting involves relearning your significant other's path. And again, this is something we talk about more often than not. I mean, like this podcast has evolved from a sex podcast to really about communicating and realizing, your dad might not be a horrible guy. He might just suck at telling you what he wants. And your brothers and your sibling and all these things really can boil down to just the love languages of you being like, all right, Mike had a hard day, and and probably just like Mike, because we're very similar with this. I'll like I'll work really hard on my side gigs and not give myself sort of like the love and praise for like the good gigs. So like I'll come home like beaten down from some $15-$20 an hour gig, and then I got to hear my girlfriend not be impressed with me, and I'll be bitter because she's working gigs that pay 5 times that much amount, and I'm like, oh, must be fucking nice, bitch. And I'm like, and then I come off like some asshole. But in my head, I'm just like defensive because I'm not where I want to be, and it's my own problem to deal with. And I don't want any of my bitterness to make her earn any less than Sure. So like two different paths. I want her to be as successful as possible, but I also want myself to like have the love and encouragement that I'm on my path. And sometimes you get this self-sabotage thing where like, all right, I'm just gonna wreck everything in the process. Because it is exhausting.
The male ego, didn't Charlemagne say that? The male ego is the most fragile thing.
It's very fragile.
It's like, I feel it all the time now. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because like I'm enjoying myself more than ever now, and I'm comfortable too. I remember coming out to LA. No lie. I thought I had a lot of money coming out here. That shit was going so fast, right? So I remember I'm like maybe a couple months out here, broke, have a shit job out here, but I'm here. And then I just remember thinking to myself, if I could just live in Los Angeles, have like a pretty girlfriend, and be able to and I remember looking at restaurants and going, if I could eat at those places maybe at least once a week, I'll have made it here. And because I couldn't at that time, I was like living on credit cards. There was no way I was going to survive. I got somehow.
Not to mention, and I mean to interrupt, but you've lost a ton of weight. Like, what were you?
Yeah.
Where are you at now? And what was your heaviest?
My heaviest ever was 250.
And you're at
When I was sick,
160.
I was
What are you?
sick then,
162.
I'm 165.
Not
Feeling
bad.
great.
Not bad for me to guess.
I feel great.
3 pounds away.
I feel better than ever. Yeah.
We know you post a lot of shirtless photos. We get it.
Yeah.
But you were evolving. You're sort of like living your dream and figuring out all these things that you thought you wanted, plus some probably.
Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And that's. Yeah, and we got to wrap up because we're over an hour. We got to watch Game of Thrones.
Can't wait, tacos.
But that's what it's all about. Is us all figuring out the path we're on, the trajectory, but also being kind to where we are currently. Yeah. We might be years away from where we really want to be, where we're fine. Just like.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say, Dave. Is basically sorry to interrupt.
Please go.
But basically was that. Is now I'm in that exact spot that I was talking about. Is my girl is our foundation right now, right? She makes plenty of money and she's good at what she does. She loves doing what she's doing and all of that. It's I've reached that I'm at my happiest right now. Like I said before, it's all that stuff that I used to think of. I guess my dreams are kind of simple. It's I'm in LA, I'm doing comedy, and I'm comfortable. There's not a lot of comedians that can say that. I work hard at my side gigs. I want to keep up my end of the bargain, but a lot of comedians out there are working just as hard as me and are just technically as broke as me, but don't have anybody supporting them. And they're living on such a fragile, if their car goes, they're fucked if they're an Uber driver.
Yeah.
They got to go back to Cincinnati or wherever the fuck they came from. It's
Dude, we see this every week where a dude's car gets stolen. It's well, that's your life.
Yeah, you're
literally your whole life.
Now you got to go
was
back
stolen.
to Des Moines and work 2 years to come back out. I hope, hey, all God bless you, come back here, son, because you really tried. I'm so lucky that my car goes. My girl's got me. She knows that I'm gonna get my shit together and get my stuff together. But I got a fucking safety net, man. She encourages me. She's just I got you. The only way this is going to work if you go full steam ahead.
She's investing in you, so don't fuck this up.
Well, yeah. No, but she really is. And she made that judgment the first time that she saw me perform. She was she really said that she was scared. Right, baby? Go ahead, take it away. You were scared to see me perform for the first time.
Yeah, well, so are you.
Yeah, I was scared to because she was making already a predetermined decision that if I wasn't funny, she was going to have to get an exit strategy.
And luckily, he's got better. He's got. Well, I said it was Tasha. She knew she was investing in me, just didn't know it was such a long-term investment.
Right? This is a really long-term investment.
But what's a better return in the sense that you get short-term investment, boom, whatever, you're there. But the long-term investment is you get to see, and again, you could, we could have dated, I'm 20 years into comedy, I'm on Conan, whatever the fuck new cool show is that you get to do, whatever. Everyone gets their sort of chance a certain amount of years into comedy. No one's better. Jenny Zagrino was on the show today, on the Mimosa show. She's been multiple times on Conan.
Really?
She's a huge credit in Bad Santa 2 with, all this fucking shit. Whatever. We all get our shot.
Sure.
It's all there.
Yeah.
We're both we've got material that would knock it out of the park on
For
Conan,
sure.
of course. But the fact that and I look at this because I always go, geez, I wish I was farther along. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. Well, I've got someone who can share in the joy when those milestones happen. And that's something to be said too, because what's the point of doing Conan and crushing if you go into the green room and there's no one there to sort of
to me,
high five you?
That's not good.
And that's part of it, because it's not just about where you are now, but it's about the sort of equity you build and where you're going. And that's for any creative job or any other job where you don't feel, our podcast listeners, if you don't feel validated with where you are, it's about building that equity and knowing that there will be people there. One of the best feelings I had, I don't even know if I ever mentioned this to you, the first gig I ever booked, we were looking through that Just Friends movie yesterday. It was Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart had a movie called, I think it was called Just Friends. Was that what it's called, Just Friends?
Maybe, yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, it's a fucking
right.
great movie.
I love that movie.
2005. He's in a fat suit.
Yeah, the girl is married to Chris Pine.
Yeah, Amy
No,
Smart.
but they look
Anyway, the
similar.
point is I'm in my basement, my parents'
her
basement,
name.
right? It's the year after it's 8 months after I got fired from my corporate job, and I had the chance to go into other corporate jobs, but I chose to start acting. I was like, I want to try something different. Stand up was still out of the picture. It was too far. I just couldn't even imagine it. So I was like, I'm going to try acting. I took a couple classes, whatever. I auditioned for a few different projects in Boston, and I auditioned for this one project. It was called what the fuck? I don't even remember what it was called. I can't remember right now. And the co-star of it was Amy Smart. She was in. She's been in Outside Providence.
A ton of movies from like the 90s, I would guess, or like early 2000s.
She's the one who shows her tits in Road Trip. Okay, she's that. This is like iconic. This is the chick.
I know who she is.
Bro, she was like a fucking huge, and she still is, but she was big. And anyway, I go and I get my audition. Okay, whatever. I drive to Boston. I say the lines. I had a couple paragraphs. There's a lot of lines, and then I leave. I got a call back. Wear the same thing. You're supposed to. I go do the callback. I come back. All right, whatever. I'm sitting in my fucking basement of my parents' house. This is 10 plus years ago. I get a phone call. It's Boston. It's CP casting, Carolyn Pickman casting. It's like the main casting in Boston. Congratulations, you got the role. I got the fucking role. I got to be on an ABC TV show.
That's
and I
dope.
got to show up. A set 50 different fucking. I got my own trailer. I'm eating ice cream. I had no idea, so I'm just eating ice cream all day. There's so much food and this and that, and then I felt like I was gonna vomit. I was so nervous. I get to the set. I had memorized my dialogue completely. I could recite it right. I knew exactly what I was gonna say. They looked at me. I was in a cop outfit. They're like, I'm 23 at the time. They're like, you don't look like a fucking cop. They changed my outfit. Wardrobe comes in. They rewrote my lines, so I had to say different lines, and then they had the mic set up, and I do the fucking show with Amy Smart. This is still to this day the biggest credit I've ever got. The point is the pilot got buried. I've never seen it. It never made it, but it was like, dude, it was like a big deal. And the second I was able to get the news, walk up the stairs, and like tell my mom was one of the most gratifying and simple moments in my career. That was like, you can do what you need to do, and like you'll be okay. You don't need to have your
Those
business
small
degree.
reassurances are like so important
It is-
at pointing you like true north.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Pointing you on your path.
And then we
Sure.
get them in stand up.
Absolutely.
We get different gigs where we do fucking well, or like a headliner. It's like, dude, fucking good shit. You know, like we get those along the way, and it's kind of narcissistic, or people think it's narcissistic at least, to be like braggadocious about it. But it's like, that's all I get.
Yeah.
That's worth more than me than any amount of money is to hear that headliner say, "Funny bit, Dave.
Yeah.
Good shit, man."
Yeah.
I had this happen this week.
That's so
Chris
true,
Duncan,
man.
this comic, he's a guy I respect. I did that bit that I did today about the whey protein and how to tell who's the alpha male, stupid thing. And he goes, dude, I did it at the mic, and he goes, dude, that shit's gonna be on late night TV. And I go, look,
That's awesome,
some
man.
comics get like,
You know what's funny is that like you're just talking about that reassurance from other comedians. Sometimes I'll be like, I want to quit, and then somebody like that's well known will be like, keep going. I'm like, fuck, all right. I wish you didn't say that, but yeah,
But
you kind of
that's-
came in at the right time, buddy. Thank you. I don't know if God sent you, but all right.
But that is the angel that you need to follow.
Yeah.
And I always had my little spirit animal is a cardinal. And so whenever I say cardinal, I go, I'm fucking on the way. And it's like a simple little thing that you have to look for. And again, you really do have to look. Like, you can't be closed off to this shit. You have to be open and looking for the ways that your career is flourishing. I mean, we have podcast listeners that are running for Congress. You know, like, people write in, they're trying something new. They're doing this, they're doing that. I'm about to quit my job to pursue this. It's like, what's the hurt in trying to do whatever makes you happy? Because how you operate at your highest energy level of love is way better than any amount of money that can pay you to do what you don't care about. And it might not be there right away, but it's easy when we talk about things that we love. We don't, we try our best not to make it all about stand-up, but like, we have a passion, and that's the energy that vibrates at a high level that is like, well, let that be the vehicle that you pursue your thing to, listener, and just know that we're guys that, like, we both could be working at Enterprise, kicking knuckles, doing our thing, junior executive, 60 grand. We could be fucking killing it, selling rental insurance.
Like, you know what's funny is every time I think about, I swear to God, no matter what, without fail, I probably like every 6 months contemplate quitting, like for about like maybe like a couple of days. I'll like, and it always comes back to working for Enterprise Rental Car.
Yeah.
That's always where I'll end up doing.
And
if I
that's my
really want to
go-to.
quit, that's what I'm going to apply.
Dude, but
Enterprise Rental Car.
that's my
So
go-to.
I can't quit because I don't want to fucking work for them.
Did you don't want to be selling? Oh, well, you should get the collision insurance.
man.
Like, never get the collision. It's a scam.
You know,
they
they're-
tried to sell me the Easy Pass. Fuck you and your Easy Pass.
They're
I'm
all
not going over tolls.
They're all former athletes. God bless them.
Yeah.
There's D3 stars
But
from Mount Union University.
All right, is that if you're listening and you have, I mean, like, you know, started out as like your nighttime hustle, whatever it is, claw with your fingernails to figure out how to make what you love a reality, because you can't get a second chance at this. Like I tell like Tasha, we've talked about this and we got to wrap up. We're a little bit over. We got to wrap up. But like I tell Tasha, she's like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. It's like, you already have this voice. We were talking earlier about that sort of like affirmations, and we did our Patreon only episode with Jonesy, our buddy of ours. Jonesy runs his own Patreon. He does Weird AF News, a podcast, super successful, and he's been on our podcast. And so together we both do like these private membership only episodes where he comes over and reads like weird news and we comment on it. So we did this episode. We just released it this last Friday, patreon.com/the SAP, and afterwards, Tasha's in the other room, and Jonesy comes up to me and he goes, dude, man, Tasha's really smart. She's really good. Like, she's really insightful and this and that. And I was like, and as humbled and happy as I was like, thank you so much. I was like, dude, go in there and tell her that. Like, it doesn't do you any good to compliment me about her. Like, I feel good about that. But it's like, then he goes in there and he hugs her and he probably, you know, I'm like, all right, go easy, don't touch her. But like, I'm like, that made me, like, nothing will make me more emotional and happy than knowing that Tasha feels the love and appreciation from what she does. Yet we set this bar at such a high level where it's like, you don't need to be, you know, conducting surgery here to affect others. Like, you can just be a bright soul on a podcast and that be your thing. Like, that's you know, there's plenty of people with podcasts that your thing is like helping others get through their day, and I swear that's better than a massage therapist who's you know, or like not to, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's different. We've all got.
I don't
different.
know. Some massage therapists have worked magic on me.
If you want to listen to our podcast while getting your massage therapy on, by all means. But like the point is that we're very.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that the most impactful thing, like the best you can do for yourself, is like feeling like satisfaction from giving to others, or knowing that you're making an impact on either someone else or the world or whatever, that you're like making somebody's day a better place, or a better day, or making the world a better place. Like, that's how you find fulfillment, right? So it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're making the world a better place, if you're making someone's day brighter, dude, you're killing it.
Yeah,
But-
so I actually said, really, I know you got to go, but I said that today to you, didn't I? I said, you know, the reasons I do stand-up, like, people are doing stand-up, I'm sure, to, like, get ahead and all that kind of stuff, right? But I was kind of thinking to myself, like, the reason I do stand-ups are the same reasons I have sex. It's just literally just because I just want to do it. Like, when I'm having sex, I don't think about, like, having sex, like, I'm going to keep moving up. This is going to keep going. You know, no, I'm just enjoying whatever. I'm having great sex now, but my point is that my point is that I'm not looking at like this end game. I really just enjoy. I hope I get the biggest stage and they pay me. That sounds great. Yes, absolutely. But the core of it all is just literally making people laugh and, you know, having confidence in myself. That's what this is all boiling down to.
And that's what's made it hard for me to like want to quantify and like sort of do the Patreon. Whereas I've been like, look, I don't feel like I deserve to charge people for what I do. But also what I've learned is there's people that want, it's not about me charging them for what I do. It's them wanting to help me out, and having a forum for where they can help me out and not feeling guilty if that's what they want to do. They
want to show like appreciation, right?
Like,
they want to help you feel valued because they find value in what you do.
And shout out to Christian.
Absolutely.
Christian like sent us a nice Venmo for our birthdays, and like
Yeah,
that's very
so
sweet.
they're
sweet.
just good people out there, and it's okay to realize everyone's in a different place in life, and like they're rooting for us. And I listen to podcasts. I listen to, you know, my favorite podcast is called You Know What Dude, right? It's Robert Kelly, and actually in a couple days, maybe it's like tomorrow, the next day, he's performing in Highland Park, and I really wanted to go see him.
Where at?
It's like a small little theater, but he's a New York guy, and it's like, if this dude died, I would cry, for sure cry. I've met him a few times, but like, I'm like legit invested into his life as a podcast listener. Yeah. That's the one where Monday morning rolls around, I listen. Sure. 6 years straight. At 1 hour to 2 hours, 52 weeks a year, like I am there. He's my guy. When he goes, it's gonna fucking hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like people, we don't do this so that people will feel that way about us, but it's a humbling sort of like thing when we can do the Patreon and we've got a certain amount of people that, they're like, look, we'll pay for extra content. You just, we'll put the free shit out, but we'll pay for extra stuff. And then we go, okay, well, I guess, and then we'll do the live mimosa show. Okay, well, and people show up to that. Okay, well, we'll do this. And who knows what it'll keep on turning into, but it's about, like Tasha keeps saying, like following the breadcrumbs, but also it's important. And Tasha, Tasha's really good at saying to others what's important, but you need to listen to how important you are to people as a voice.
Oh, thanks.
She doesn't, and that's my thing. It's like and again, I get it. A lot of our listeners, 30s, weird shit happens in your 30s. Like, you just have this, okay, I'm not on the younger side of life. I'm starting to get to the older side. I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm getting to the, and then you go, what's my impact? And that's the thing all humans have. We want to build shit. We want to paint shit. We want to, we always have this thing like, what's my impact on life? And
I've lived all these years. What do I have to show for it? Right? And what have I accomplished?
And it's crazy to me, but I understand, but it's crazy to me, Tasha, when you ask that, and because you'll see people's photos of their highlight reel. They're getting married. They've got this. They've got that. Their boyfriend. This is a fucking doctor. This and that. And then you go, you've got so much you've done that I don't want other people to feel bad by seeing your image, but like they've got a lot to catch up to you. You're doing a lot. With you worry about, I didn't finish my degree, or what if I pursued this? You've pursued so much in life. You've done so much. I know it freaks you out for me to like put you on the spot like this.
I mean, thanks. I appreciate hearing that. We had this conversation yesterday or whenever, and I mean, it's nice to have some of that. I mean, that's what friends are for, right? You gotta put it in perspective for me.
But I put her on the spot to be like, and again, like, and I'm like, who would Tasha do well with? Like say she. I was like, you do well in this podcast. I was like, you and Raquel, Pomplin, should do a podcast together.
That would be good.
I keep on mentioning that because like
she's very nice, by the way.
They're just both good, smart people who are just like not taking shit from nobody, because they've both, you and Raquel have both grown up with like being judged by your image, but also being like, fuck you, this is who I am type of thing. And anyway, I would never want to like completely push you in that direction, but I think, I don't know, for me it's like, look, you've already got like,
maybe we'll do an episode without you and just test the waters.
I'm telling you, I'll be in the other room, I'll smoke some weed, I'll set the fucking audio right, I'll go hang out.
I'll join you, bud.
Yeah, we
can watch the game.
Yeah, you'll get an audience of bros.
Are the Phillies playing the Red Sox this year?
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Anyway, I guess to paraphrase. Oh, jeez, we're almost at an hour and a half. We got to get out of here. To paraphrase,
you said 3 times.
That's what I like to do.
We're trying to wrap it up, and then you just keep on rambling, and we're all like with our tummies grumbling over here.
The best part
is like a business call before lunch, and Dave's like, "Well, wait a minute, the third quarter."
The best part is
but we're having fun.
Somebody who's listening sees that the podcast is only halfway over, and they hear me trying to end
Shut it down.
Like, you ain't about to end it. I know you got 42 minutes left. We will get out of here. We'll save some. We'll save a little bit for next time, because I know Mike's. I'm pretty sure our longest episode ever. I'm pretty sure. I know we did one recently with Jonesy that got long, but I think Mike's still our longest.
Wow, really?
You know what's so funny is like, I actually tried to work this into a bit, but I think it's true. Is like now that I'm happy in a relationship more than I've ever been or whatever. Like, nobody wants to hear, like, remember my single stories, but nobody wants to hear, like, I missed those single stories. Like, now it's like, hey, that girl I've been madly in love with for the last 3 years? Yeah, fucked her last night. That's right. In the middle of an episode of Insecure. That's right. And she had a headache and still gave me a 10-second blowjob. That's right. Yes, I did.
Bro, you're getting 10 seconds blowjob?
High five. Yeah, exactly.
That's like 10 seconds longer than I'm getting.
3 years in Los Angeles? That's like 88 years.
Well, you're true that stand-up does rely on like a negative sort of backstory. So like being single does provide you with some funny stuff. But relationships.
But
are weird
relationships
shit
do
happens.
too.
Yeah, it's just not on. It's not. I'm sorry, I know we're running late, but it's not the same. I'm happy. I wouldn't trade it for anything, by the way. But it's like how painful jokes can be funnier.
But dude, you and I should like go one night, just smoke some weed and talk about our past.
We're gonna smoke weed during Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
finale,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I'll fucking be on a dragon and get dragon.
My girlfriend's wearing a Game of Thrones shirt.
There you go.
She's rocking
Winter
it.
is coming.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you guys.
She introduced me to it.
I know we got to get out of here, but
Fuck it. Let's just keep going.
I've slept through many episodes.
Me and Dave have like that eHarmony chemistry, I think. Like if we were gay lovers, we would be on those dates that
Dude,
last
we
for
would
hours.
kill it, bro. Fuck it. Philly and Rhode
We
Island.
have too much chemistry,
Are you
dude. I'd be like,
kidding me?
let me tell you about the Sox. No, let me tell you about the Phillies.
Start our own team, bro. What do you need to promote? Let's get out of here.
All right.
Quick-
Actually, oh shit. Yes, I got Flappers this Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and I have on Thursday.
what is that? The 22nd?
Yes.
Is that off the top of my head?
This Wednesday.
Okay, people listening this week.
Yeah.
It's May 22nd or
And what's
23rd. I don't know.
shop?
the date.
The coffee shop.
think it's
The one I really would like people to come to if you're in the LA area is. You got it, Boo? What is it?
Sachi?
Come on, Boo.
Let me ask you this. In the meantime,
It's on Thursday at.
8 p.m. at Sachi, LA. It's on
she's-
Centinela.
she's your booking manager too. This is good. Like, she's got your
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
going.
And who's the comedian that's put it together? Give him some shout outs.
Jared Casabaum. I actually work with him.
He's a very nice guy. Yeah, he's very nice putting on a show at this place.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, so if
And-
you guys want to come out on Thursday.
Tasha, where am I this week? Please let me know. Dude, can I post this today's mimosa show on the Patreon? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask all the other comics to make sure, but for people
Could
listening,
you send me a cut someday?
Oh no, absolutely. I'll do it this week. We got really good audio of it.
Yeah, cool.
For those listening, the best thing you can do to support the Sex Actually podcast right now is to go over to our Patreon. If you're a little nervous about joining, I totally understand. A lot of people have never joined before. Go to patreon.com/thesap. Check out all the past episodes we have. When you sign up to be a Patreon member, you get to listen or watch all of our content. So we've got 3 months of a lot of content. You're out there, you might want to throw, $8 at us. It's going to get you, dozens of hours of stand-up shows, podcasts, this and that. Anything you want to chime in with Patreon, Tasha?
No, and the other thing you can do if you are not interested in joining Patreon or you're just not at that place right now, share it with a friend, man. Just share the regular podcast with a friend. We really appreciate it. We're trying to grow the number of people who are subscribed on iTunes or Spotify or whatever. So we would love, love, love if you just told a friend about how much you love this app.
Yeah, and Mike, check this out. So, because we had Leo on last week, he was kind of voted one of the most hated Bachelorette contestants of all time.
No
I don't know if-
shit.
yeah, he was
He's
like
such a nice guy
Yeah, he's a
today.
nice guy, but they edited him pushing another dude. They didn't show the dude pushing him first.
No
so
shit.
they made it so people hate him. So even by promoting the podcast with Leo, people gave me a 1-star review. That's how fucked up people
wow.
are. So I'm just saying that because I could care less, and it really doesn't affect the algorithm much. But if you haven't yet, you have to go to our iTunes and give us a 5-star review and leave us a nice comment, because it's something we get to see and share with our friends. But for new people that get to check out our podcast, it's good for them to see recent, nice, amazing comments from listeners. So if you've been a part of us and you can't contribute to the Patreon, we still love you. Just go over there. Go to the iTunes. And again, if you have any Apple device, whether it's an iPad, an iPhone, whatever it is, if you've ever used iTunes, you can subscribe and rate us on the iTunes app, on the podcast app. And if you listen on any other app, we appreciate that as well. But if you could subscribe on both, it's free. We appreciate that. Anyway, we're just below 90 minutes, so let me get out of here before then. Anything else? We're going to go watch Game of Thrones now. We've officially made it to the end. Michael...
Over under that Daenerys dies. I'll say.
You're wearing a Patriot shirt and cleaning my kitchen if she does. So that's all I know.
That doesn't. Oh God.
Michael, thank you for doing the podcast. And again, thank you for doing the stand-up show today. The Mimosa show, that was the best one yet. We'll have it all in the Patreon if you guys want to listen to the live show. We had Jeffrey Eggleston, who like opened with amazing musical. Didn't you love his music?
Yeah, he's pretty
Dude,
funny.
He was fucking insane.
Yeah.
His music was insane, and we had a bunch of amazing comedians. They all crushed it. So again, Michael, Elaine, Tasha Courtney, at Tasha Courtney on Instagram. I'm at DNealz, DNEALZ. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Let's go watch Game of Thrones. All right, let's do it.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Bye,